Ready for it?
All right. Anybody wonder why the Most High don't show himself? Can y'all hear me? Anybody wonder why the Most High don't show himself? Why he ain't walking around down here with us?
Too much sin down here.
Too much what down here?
Sin.
Too much sin, right? So, you know, a lot of people, they don't believe because they don't see it. But like a lot of people always say, well, you can't see air, but you know you breathing, right? So, we don't. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Got out the bag.
Pretty much. So we asked a question in the inbox maybe a week, two ago about what causes this thing in Zechariah 14. So we're going to go through that. And y'all know we've been doing this law thing for the last like 2 months or something, maybe a little bit longer. But before that, we was doing a series on the tribulation. So this going to pick up in the tribulation or somewhere right after that. So this is the return. HaMashiach's return. How it's going to be right before he get here. All right? So in the beginning it was darkness. Before he came the first time. So the Most High said, let there be light. Right? So, but it was darkness. Darkness is what most people is afraid of, right? Children is afraid of darkness. You don't want to go down. It's too dark down there. It's a dark alley, right? So we like, for some reason, naturally afraid of the dark. But you're going to find out you should be afraid of the light. All right? So let's see how it's going to be. Give me Revelation chapter 9 and verse 2. We'll try to keep this short. My ox told me, you know, I got 1,000 precepts, but you know, I'm going to try to cut it to 995 a day.
Revelations or Hazon, chapter 9 and verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened.
It was what?
The sun and the air were darkened.
They was darkened. Go ahead.
By reason of the smoke of the pit.
By reason of what?
Of the smoke of the pit.
So the sun and the moon is darkened. This means it's going to be dark, right? Again, we are afraid of the dark. Finish that out.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth.
Oh, we good right there.
Okay.
Give me Isaiah chapter 13. Revelation 9 and 2. Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 9. Behold, the day of Yahuwah come, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate.
To do what?
To lay the land desolate.
Don't sound like a good time. Go ahead.
And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Who is he going to destroy?
The sinners thereof out of it.
The sinners, therefore, out of it. So, anybody want the HaMashiach to come down right now and walk in here? No? What? That's the Savior. That's who you've been wanting to see for all this time, right? Nobody don't want to walk in here right now? Wow. Read. Verse 9.
You want me to go back to verse 9?
Yeah.
Behold, the day of Yahuwah come, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Go ahead.
For the stars of Shamayim and the constellations thereof shall not give their light.
And do what?
They will not give their light.
Back to the darkness. Read.
The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
So again, we all back to the darkness, just like in the beginning, before he ever said, let there be light. All right? So we're going to find out what these stars really are. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 10.
Revelations, or Hazon, chapter 16 at verse 10. And the fifth Malachim poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain.
He said his kingdom was what?
Was full of darkness.
Full of what?
Darkness.
It was full of darkness. Read.
And they gnawed their tongues for pain.
And they did what?
Gnawed their tongues for pain.
So his kingdom is full of darkness. And these people, they're going to be in so much distress that they're going to bite their own tongues for pain. Jump back to verse 3.
Verse 3. And the second Malachim poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as the blood of a dead man, and every living soul died in the sea.
So this is back like how it was in Egypt when the water became blood and all these different things. Go ahead.
And the third Malachim poured out his vial upon the rivers and the fountains of waters, and they became blood.
And they became what?
They became blood.
Just like back in Egypt. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9.
Hazon, chapter 12 and verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world.
Does what?
Which deceived the whole world.
Half the world.
The whole world.
He deceived the whole world. This is why we're not supposed to be of this world. We in it, but we don't supposed to be of it. Read.
He was cast out into the earth, and his Malachim were cast out with him.
Jump back to verse 4.
Verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of Shamayim.
So it's showing us that the stars is actually the angels. Read.
And did cast him to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born.
To do what?
To devour her child as soon as it was born.
Devour her child as soon as it was born. Jump down to verse 8 again.
Verse 8. And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in Shamayim. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Shaitan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his Malachim were cast out with him.
So these Malachims are, quote unquote, the stars. Not the ones that you're looking at, but they call the angels stars as well. Give me Job chapter 38. Chapter 38 and verse, we'll pick it up at verse 6.
Job chapter 38 and verse 6. Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone thereof? When the morning stars,
When who?
When the morning stars
Did what?
sang together, and all the sons of Elohim shouted for joy.
So these stars are, quote unquote, angels that are fallen. All right? Get me Revelation chapter 1 and verse 20.
Revelations chapter 1 and verse 20. The mystery of the 7
Of
stars,
the what?
of the 7 stars,
Go ahead.
which you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks. The 7 stars are the Malachim,
They're what?
are the Malachim,
So again, this is confirming that these quote-unquote stars are angels. Finish that out.
of the 7 churches, 7 congregations. And the 7 candlesticks which you saw are the 7 congregations.
All right. So get me Daniel chapter 8, verse 10. All this is to establish this darkness that's going to be upon the face of the earth.
Daniel chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of Shamaim.
Even to what?
Even to the host of Shamaim.
This is the quote-unquote anti-Messiah right here. It says if he waxed great, even to the host of Shamaim. Read.
And it cast down some of the host.
Did what?
And it cast down some of the host.
Go ahead.
And of the stars.
And the what?
And of the stars.
Go ahead.
To the ground. And stamped upon them.
So again, this is confirming that these are stars or angels. Revelation chapter 6 and 13. So all of these conditions got to be present when Hamashiach comes back down here.
Revelation chapter 6 and verse 13. And the stars of Shamaim fell unto the earth.
They did what?
Fell unto the earth.
Go ahead.
Even as a fig tree cast her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind.
Of a what?
Of a mighty wind.
Of a mighty wind. Read verse 14.
And the Shamaim departed as a scroll.
It did what?
Departed as a scroll.
The Shamaim departed as a scroll. Can anybody picture this? Picture the sky doing like a scroll. Kind of like them shades that you got, you pull it down and right, and then fly back up. Something like that. Picture that. Read that verse again.
And the Shamaim departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their
It
places.
says every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Can anybody picture this? What could cause mountains and stuff to move?
Faith of a
I
mustard seed.
guess it has been stopped then. That's a good one. Earthquakes or something, right? Let's keep that in mind. It says that the heaven is going to scroll back like a roll, and every mountain and the islands are moved out of their places. Isaiah chapter 34 and 4. So now when the heavens move back, this means whatever is up there behind this, you should be able to see it now, right? Because it's a veil that's covering the sky. I want y'all to keep that in mind. There's a veil that's covering the sky. Read.
And the host of Shamaim.
What's the host of Shamaim? Quote unquote angels. Read.
And the host, and all the host of Shamaim shall be dissolved.
Shall be what?
Dissolved.
He said, the host of Shamaim shall be dissolved. Wow. What can dissolve a spirit? Because this is what they're saying. The host of heaven going to be dissolved. Something so hot that it can melt the spirit? Think about that. Read that again.
And all the host of Shamaim shall be dissolved, and the Shamaim shall be rolled together as a scroll.
It is what?
As a scroll.
Rolled together as a scroll. So it says it's going to roll back like a scroll, and instantaneous stuff is going to melt the elements around is going to melt. Can you picture air melting? We can't. The mind can't go there. The mind can't even go there. So now, let's see. So when this thing rolls back, HaMashiach, according to scripture, is sitting on the circle of the earth. He's up there, right? Let's unveil him. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 2.
First John chapter 3 and verse 2. Beloved, now are we the sons of Elohim, and it do not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear,
When he what?
when he shall appear,
When he shall appear, when the heavens roll back like a scroll, that means there's somebody back there about to come out. So imagine when Tyson and them was back behind the curtain. They're back there pacing, right? The music playing. And you getting ready because you know something big about to happen, right? Imagine that's what's going on. Because when he come back, it's going to be music playing. But it's a trumpet. Keep it in mind. He unveiling. It's going to be a big deal. Very, very big deal. Read that verse again, Art.
Beloved, now are we the sons of Elohim, and it do not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him.
We shall be what?
We shall be like him.
We shall be like him. We ain't like him right now. We ain't like him. In the beginning, he made man in his own image, but sin caused that light to leave from you. So the reason you can't be around him, because he can't have no sin around him. Period. So the reason that he ain't around you, he actually protecting you from him. Because if you was around him right now, like they think about the nuclear bombs, this would be you. This would be you. So it says, we shall see him like he is, but we shall be like him. Read.
For we shall see him as he is.
For we're going to see him as he is. Anybody want to see him right now? What? Don't y'all want to see how his face look?
Not yet.
Not yet?
I'll tell you right here.
Because that's what everybody's been wondering, like, man, how does he walk? How does he, oh my goodness, man, I just can't wait. But can you really wait? Yeah, it'll be best to wait.
Thinking of like Morgan Freeman.
No, but straight up it says, for we shall see him as he is. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 5. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 5.
Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 5. And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed.
What is it? Read it again.
And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed.
We know through scripture in Exodus it shows that he is the quote-unquote esteem or glory of the Most High. Read that again.
And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed.
It shall be revealed. It's calling it right here, but it's talking about him. And the esteem of Yahuwah shall be revealed. Go ahead.
And all flesh.
How much flesh?
All flesh.
Half of it.
All flesh.
All flesh. Read.
Shall see it together.
Go ahead.
For the mouth of Yahuwah hath spoken it.
So when it's revealed, everybody gonna see it together. Just like the script say. So, if somebody were to say, yo, Ak, he in the desert, what would that be? A false report, exactly. Because it just told us that we're going to all see it together. Right? Because it's going to be complete what? Darkness. Everything going to be pitch black. Just like it was talking about in Egypt. And it says that no man moved out of his place. It was so dark, you sat where you was at for 3 days straight. Nobody didn't even move. And it said it was thick darkness, 3 days. That means if you had a flashlight, it wouldn't work. This is how dark it is. It's darker than what the mind can even think. Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah 66 and 18. This is that second coming.
You said 17.
66 and 18.
18. Isaiah 66 and verse 18. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations in tongues.
How many nations?
All nations in tongues.
Go ahead.
And they shall come and see my esteem.
And do what?
And see my esteem.
And see my esteem. HaMashiach is that esteem. Ezekiel 39, 21.
Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 21. And I will set my esteem among the heathen.
Where you going to put him at?
Among the heathen.
Among the heathens. The people that's mocking them. That's making a mockery of them. Read.
And all the heathen shall see my judgment.
See my what?
See my judgment.
See my judgment. Because it said somebody sat down here to judge the people. Read that from the top again.
And I will set my esteem among the heathen. And all the heathen shall see my judgment.
And all the heathens shall see my judgment. Go ahead.
That I have executed. And my hand that I have laid upon them.
My hand that I have laid upon them. This ain't a good thing when he laid a hand on you. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30.
Matthew or Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in Shamaim. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
They're going to do what?
Mourn.
The tribes of the earth going to mourn? I thought everybody wanted him to come back. I thought everybody was happy that he was coming back.
Right.
But it say all of the tribes of the earth shall mourn. So then shall the sign of the Son of Man appear, because the veil has been removed back, complete darkness, and we know that he is light. Read.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of Shamaim with power and great esteem.
And what?
And great esteem.
And great esteem, because he is the esteem. Right? Now we know that sin is what separated us from him in the first place. Because he was there walking in the garden in the beginning. Before Adam and Eve ever sinned, he was in his great form. Genesis chapter 3 and 23. Right, pick it up at 22.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 22. And Elohim said, see, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever.
And do what?
And live forever.
And live forever. So in the beginning, you had right to the tree of life. You could live forever. But we lost it. Go ahead.
So Yahuwah Elohim sent him out of the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he was taken.
Go ahead.
And he drove the man out, and he placed cherubim at the east of the Garden of Eden, and flaming swords which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of life.
Because, you know, Adam and Eve, now they realize they kicked out. This means we want to get back. Now we realize what we lost. Dang, man, we got to get back in there. So this was, quote unquote, heaven on earth in the beginning. And what he say can't inherit heaven?
Flesh.
Flesh and blood cannot enter into Shamayim. So they lost their light. Now you got on filthy flesh. It can't be around them. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and 24.
Appreciate.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, 24.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 24. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a consuming fire.
He's a what?
Consuming fire.
He's a consuming fire. So if sin is around this fire, what happens?
You get consumed.
You get consumed. Finish that out.
For Yahuwah your Elohim is a consuming fire, even a jealous Elohim.
Even a jealous Elohim. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 3.
Deuteronomy chapter 9 and verse 3. Understand therefore this day that Yahuwah your Elohim is he which goeth over before you, and as a consuming fire he shall destroy them.
As a what?
Consuming fire.
As a consuming fire. He gonna do what?
Destroy them.
He gonna do what?
Destroy them.
He gonna destroy them. So as a consuming fire, he's gonna destroy anybody that has sin on them. Keep it in mind. All right? Get me Exodus chapter 33. Exodus chapter 33 and verse 20.
Exodus chapter 33 and verse 20. And he said, you cannot see my face.
You shall what?
You cannot see my face.
Why not?
But there shall no man see me and live.
But no man shall see me and live. So when y'all said y'all didn't want him to walk in here, that was a good thing. Read it again.
And he said, you cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live.
And what?
And live.
No man shall see me and live. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 26.
Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 26. And above the firmament.
What is it?
Above the firmament.
On top of the firmament, go ahead.
That was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne was the likeness of the appearance of a man above upon it.
So it was likeness of an appearance of a man above it. Read.
And I saw the color of amber, and the appearance of fire round about with it.
What was it?
And the appearance of fire round about within it.
And we go again. The appearance of fire round about. Read.
From the appearance of his loins even upward. And from the appearance of his loins even downward, I saw as it were the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about.
So what does this look like? This vision, seeing him right here, what does this look like? It looked like a great man in the middle of fire, surrounding him. Because they just showed you a picture of what's up there. Right? Read.
Verse 28. And the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so was the appearance of the brightness round about. This was the appearance of the likeness of the esteem of Yahuwah.
This was the appearance of the esteem of Yahuwah. We already showed that this is HaMasciach. Go ahead.
And when I saw it, I fell upon my face, and I heard a voice of one that spake.
So he fell on his face because this is a fearful thing to see. This is very, very frightening to see. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9. So we see sometimes back here, he would open the veil up and let certain people look and see what's going on back there or up there. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9.
Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like a his throne was like fiery flame, and his wheel as a burning fire.
So we see the Father, the same description, fire all around us. Now we've been taught that Satan is the one running around in the fire, right? But he actually going in the fire. So no, Satan is not running around with a pitchfork and gas in his hand. None of this. He going in the fire. The Most High and HaMasciach are the ones that are the fire. Keep that in mind. Read that verse again.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
So Daniel getting to see a vision of the Father, just like Ezekiel got to see a vision of the Son, because he pulled the veil back and let you see sometimes. Go ahead.
Whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
As what?
As burning fire.
As burning fire. Acts chapter 7. Get another glimpse into it. Acts chapter 7 and verse 55.
Acts chapter 7 and verse 55. But he, being full of the Ruach HaKodesh, looked up steadfastly into the Shamaim.
And did what?
And saw the esteem of Elohim.
He did what?
Saw the esteem of Elohim.
So when we look up there, we don't see it though, right? Because right here, he's just showing you appearance that he pulled it back and let them see into it. So when we look up, we just see the veil that he got covering it. But right here, he letting Stephen see into it. Read.
And Yahushua standing on the right hand of Elohim.
Doing what?
Standing on the right hand of Elohim.
Usually it say he's sitting. This time he was standing. Read.
And he said, Behold, I see the Shamaim open.
I see what?
The Shamaim open.
There you go. He sees it open. Man. I think I want to see it open. But then again. Woo. Read.
And the Son of Man standing on the right hand of Elohim. Then they cried out with a loud voice, and stopped their ears, and ran upon him with one accord, and cast him out of the city and stoned him.
And stoned Stephen. But before Stephen died, he got a chance to see. He got to see the heavens open and to actually look up there and see him. That's special. Revelation chapter 19, verse 11. He got to see a vision of it. Revelations 19 and 11.
Revelations chapter 19 and verse 11. And I saw Shamaim open.
I did what?
And I saw Shamaim open.
He saw it open. One of these days it's going to open. It's going to come back just like a scroll, just like he said. And everybody who ain't right, even the people who right, going to be scared to death of what's coming.
It's gonna roll back like a scroll, right? A scroll ain't round, is it?
Nope.
Message.
Read that again.
And I saw Shamaim open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Ooh, so it's open. The guy that's been sitting up there, now he's getting ready to come out. He's ready to come from behind the curtains. Saw this vision of it open, and now this man is about to come from behind the curtain. The people that all these people said ain't real, who they call all kinds of names, that idol JC, and all these names, he finally about to come out. Ezekiel 1 and 1.
Ezekiel chapter 1 at verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river of Shebar, that the Shamaim were open.
It did what?
The Shamaim were open.
So he get to see it again right here, that it was open. Read.
And I saw visions of Elohim.
Did what?
I saw visions of Elohim.
Saw visions of Elohim. Matthew chapter 3 and 16.
Matthew chapter 3 and verse 16.
Because we always have people be like, man, why he don't show himself? Why he don't show himself? I don't believe. If I can't see it, I don't believe. So why he don't never come down here? Why we don't see no visions of him? Because you would be dead if you see it. He actually protecting you from him.
Absolutely.
Like the story of the boy in the bubble, right? Y'all remember that? And the little boy in the bubble, and his parents, they love him, but they can't touch him. They can't get in there with him. Because if they get in there with him, what they gonna do to him? They gonna kill him. Right? Same thing. I love y'all so much. I want to come down there with you, but if I come down there, you full of sin. You filthy. I'm going to kill you if I come down there. I'm just going to watch you through the bubble. Yeah, I'm just going to watch you through. Because if I come in there with you right now, you'll be dead. French fry. Matthew chapter 3:16.
And it reads, and Yahushua, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water. And lo, the Shamaim were open unto him.
It was the what?
The Shamaim were open unto him.
So it was open unto him. Has it been open to any of y'all yet? Not to me either. It ain't been open to me either. I didn't see it either. Go ahead.
And he saw the Ruach of Elohim descending like a dove, and lighting upon him.
And lighting upon him, so when he was a man, it was open up to him to be able to see up there. Because again, he wants to dwell with us, but he can't at this present time. Ezekiel chapter 43 and 9.
Ezekiel chapter 43 and verse 9. Now let them put away their whoredom.
Let them do what?
Put away their whoredom.
Put away their whoredom. Go ahead.
And the carcasses of their kings far from me.
Do what?
And the carcasses of their kings far from me.
Far from me. Go ahead.
And I will dwell in the midst of them forever.
I will do what?
I will dwell in the midst of them forever.
So he wants to dwell with us right now, but he just told us, you got to put these things away. You got to put away your whoredoms and all the carcasses of your kings far from me. Then I will dwell in the midst of you forever. It'll be back just like the garden. He'll be around you. Before Adam and Eve had sin, he was around them physically. But as soon as they sin, you got to go. Might feel a little mean, but you got to go. Because I don't want to kill you right now. Revelations. Hold on 1 minute. 1 moment. Yeah, give me Revelation 7:15.
Revelations chapter 7 and verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim, and serve him day and night in his temple. And he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell among them.
He shall do what?
Shall dwell among them.
He shall dwell among them. But in order for him to do this, you got to do what? You got to put everything away. Revelations 21:3. Twenty-one, 3.
Revelations chapter 21 and verse 3. And I heard a great voice out of Shamaim saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men.
Is what?
Is with men.
Is with men. Go ahead.
And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and Elohim himself shall be with them and be their Elohim.
So this is when these things are put away. Now let's get back into the meat of this. Isaiah 34:4.
Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 4. And all the host of Shamaim shall be dissolved.
Shall be dissolved. We already know that he is a consuming fire. Go ahead.
And the Shamaim shall be rolled together as a scroll.
It's going to open up and everything going to melt. Read.
And all their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf fall off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree.
All right. Revelation 6:14.
Revelations chapter 6 and verse 14. And the Shamaim departed as a scroll when it is rolled together.
Go ahead.
And every mountain and island were moved out of their places.
So the mountains and islands are going to move out of their places. Go ahead.
and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
They did what?
Hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
So what can make islands and mountains move? And what can make these great men who think it ain't no Elohim hide themselves in rocks? What can make these people do this? We're going to find out in a minute. Isaiah chapter 25. Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7.
Isaiah chapter 25 at verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people.
Over what?
Over all people.
Read it from the top again.
And he will destroy in this mountain.
He will destroy in this mountain. Go ahead.
The face of the covering cast over all people.
So there's a covering that's cast over all people. Read.
And the veil that is spread over all nations.
And the veil that is spread over all nations. So it's a covering and it's a veil over this. And it's for your own good. Go ahead.
He will swallow up death in victory. And Yahuwah Elohim will wipe away tears off all faces. And the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off the earth. For Yahuwah have spoken it.
For Yahuwah have spoken it. So, the veil is finally going to be rolled back. Mountains and stuff going to move. These great kings is going to be running, trying to hide themselves in the rocks and caves. And they're going to actually ask a boulder to fall on me. Now, because it says, it's told the rocks to fall on me and hide me. So if you're a grown man, how big would the rock have to be to fall on you and hide you? It's got to be big enough to kill you. So you're so afraid that you will want a boulder to fall on you to get away from this man. That's telling you something of how bad it's going to be. You want a boulder to fall on you so you can get away. But it also tells us that in this day that men shall seek death and death shall flee from them, right? Elements gonna melt. All of this complete darkness. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15.
Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 16. For by fire and by his sword will Yahuwah plead with all flesh.
Read.
And the slain of Yahuwah shall be many.
How many?
Shall be many.
It shall be many. Read.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh.
Doing what?
Eating swine's flesh.
Go ahead.
And the abomination of the mouse shall be consumed together.
Shall be what?
Consumed together.
Because he is a consuming fire. Right? So these people decided that, you mean to tell me he'll kill me just because I eat some pork? Your God that petty that he'll kill you for? Yes. Yes. Because that's what he said. Second Thessalonians 1 and 7. Yep. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 7.
Look if we just stop. 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 at verse 7.
Pick it up at verse 6.
Verse 6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you.
So the people that's been troubling us. Read.
And to you who are troubled, rest with us. When Yahushua shall be revealed from Shamayim.
He shall be what?
Shall be revealed from Shamayim.
He shall be revealed from Shamayim. So all of this darkness, the scroll rolling back, is to reveal him, to let him finally come down and be revealed. And you're going to see him as he is. Read that verse again.
And to you who are troubled, rest with us. When our master Yahushua shall be revealed from the Shamayim with his mighty Malachim in the flaming fire.
In the what?
In the flaming fire.
In the flaming fire. There you go again. Every time he make them appearances, it's in fire. So imagine, let's put it on a physical level, right? Somebody been talking about you for years, and you've been cool about it, right? It's that old thing. If this nigga say something to me tomorrow at work, I'm going in his grill, right? So imagine this. You've been sitting back behind this thing for all these years, and these people been talking about you like a dog. JC this. He don't exist. He don't exist. That nigga, that's Horus. You know what I'm saying? All of these things. And he back there just fuming about it. But he can't do nothing because it ain't time. So imagine when he finally, and his daddy say, go ahead.
Right.
How you think he coming?
Man.
Get him, boy. Get out there and get him. What do you think? Smash City. Not playing. Smash City. On everybody that still got sin on them. Now the only way you're going to be able to withstand this, we'll get into that in a minute. Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 6. Give them some time. I know they don't know where Habakkuk is.
Somebody stole mine.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 6.
They took mine out of here.
They took yours up. He got the 2015 version. It's okay to go to the table of contents.
You need to tell me you scholars is taking this long to get to Habakkuk.
Between Genesis and Revelation.
right.
Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 6. Hey, quiet down, please.
Hey, out the road though.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 6.
All right. It says, he stood and measured the earth and beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered.
The everlasting mountains were scattered. There you go again, the mountains moving. Read.
The perpetual hills did bow.
They did what?
Bow.
The hills bowed. This means it collapsed. This means somebody coming with some power. So we see when King Kong and them be walking, or what is that, Godzilla be walking, stuff be, right? Jumping, cars and stuff bouncing, right? This gonna make that like nothing. Because he said the hills did bow. Read it again.
He stood and measured the earth, and beheld, and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow.
They did what?
Did bow.
They did bow. They sank. Go ahead.
His ways are everlasting.
They what?
His ways are everlasting.
His ways are everlasting. Isaiah 13:9.
Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 9. Behold, the day of Yahuwah come, cruel, both with wrath,
It's going to be nice.
both with wrath
And what else?
and fierce anger, to lay the land
To
desolate.
do what to it?
To lay the land desolate.
Go ahead.
And he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
Destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Jeremiah 4:23. So he told us the mountain's gonna move, shake, bow down. Jeremiah 4:23.
Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse 23. I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without
It
form.
was what?
Without form
Sound like the beginning again, right? Go ahead.
and void. And the Shamaim, and they had no light.
They had what?
No light.
Go ahead.
I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled.
They did what?
They trembled.
So the mountains again is trembling. It's going to be so scary thing. The mountains trembling. Read.
And all the hills moved lightly.
They did what?
They moved lightly.
All the hills moved lightly. Go ahead.
I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of Shamaim were fled.
They were fled. Isaiah chapter 24. Verse 19.
Isaiah 24 verse 19. The earth is utterly broken down.
It is what?
The earth is utterly broken down.
The earth is utterly broken down. Go ahead.
The earth is clean dissolved.
It is what?
Clean dissolved.
Go ahead.
The earth is moved exceedingly.
It is what?
Moved exceedingly.
What does that sound like? The earth is moved exceedingly. Mountains is dissolved. Can anybody picture this stuff? Or your mind can't go there. Go ahead.
The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard.
So the earth gonna be like it's drunk. The earth just hit a fifth of Ciroc to the head, straight. To and fro like a drunkard. Go ahead.
And shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again.
It shall fall and not rise again. That's why it's going to have to be a new heaven and a new earth, right? Revelation chapter 6, verse 14.
Revelations chapter 6 and verse 14. And the Shamaim departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men,
And the what men?
and the mighty men,
Go ahead.
and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains,
Go ahead.
and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us.
Do what?
Fall on us.
Boulder, follow me. Read.
Fall on us. Hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne.
Wow. So you people so afraid, they said, hide us from the face of the one that sits on the throne. I thought y'all was big and bad. I thought you had all these nuclear bombs that you were so big and bad with, and you got them in space like you've been telling us. Right? I thought you were so big and bad, but now you saying, fall on us. You asking the rock to fall on you so you can get away from them. Read.
And hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
From the wrath of who?
Of the Lamb.
Oh my goodness. So this lamb that was soft and let y'all kill him, he ain't so soft right now. Read.
For the great day of his wrath is come.
For the great day of his wrath is come. Read.
And who shall be able to stand?
Who gonna be able to stand? Read.
And after these things I saw 4 Malachim standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth.
What verse you at?
Yes, sir, chapter 7.
All right, we good right there.
Okay.
Let's get Isaiah chapter 13 and 13.
Isaiah chapter 13 and verse 13. Therefore, I will shake the Shamaim.
Do what?
I will shake the Shamaim,
Go ahead.
and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Most High of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. It shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man take up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land.
Oh, you're going to be running. Everybody going to flee to try to get away from this thing. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2.
First Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Most High so come as a thief in the night.
As a what?
As a thief in the night.
Go ahead.
For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them.
What comes?
Sudden destruction come upon them.
Sudden destruction come upon them out of nowhere. Boom! Destruction is upon you. Read.
As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
And they shall what?
They shall not escape.
So even though you hide in the rocks and the caves, you will not escape. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 10.
Second Peter chapter 3 and verse 10. But the chapter 3 and verse 10. But the day of the master will come as a thief in the night, in the which the Shamaim shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt.
Shall do what?
Shall melt.
The elements shall melt. Man, what fire can be this hot? What fire can be this hot that make the elements melt? Right. Nuclear bomb, like we've been taught, right? Read that again.
But the day of the master will come as a thief in the night, in the which the Shamaim shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat.
Will melt with fervent heat. Read.
The earth also, and the works that are therein shall be burnt up.
Shall be what?
Shall be burnt up.
Shall be burnt up. Revelations 3 and 3. And this is all before he actually gets down. He ain't made it down yet. I just want to put that out there. He haven't made it down yet. Just have been moved back, and he's just on the way down. He ain't come down yet. All of this is before he comes down. Revelation 3 and 3.
Revelations chapter 3 and verse 3. Remember therefore how you have received and heard, and hold fast and repent. If therefore you shall not watch, I will come on you as a thief, and you shall not know what hour I will come upon you.
So he only comes as a thief in the night to the people who's not watching. So if you know the signs and everything with the feast days to watch, he don't come on you as a thief in the night. It's only for the people who not watching and not paying attention and don't have understanding. If you don't, he's going to come on you as a thief in the night and you're going to get smashed. Matthew 24:43. Matter of fact, pick it up at 42.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 40. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, and the other left. Watch therefore.
Do what?
Watch therefore.
He told you to watch. Read.
For you know not what hour your master do come.
Go ahead.
But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched.
He would have watched. So if you know that the robber coming at 3 o'clock at midnight, you know what I'm saying? You know I'm going to watch because I know he coming. This is what he's saying. If you watching for me, you're going to know I'm coming. But if you're not watching, I'm going to come on you like a thief in the night. So we watching. TCS, we watching. Read.
And would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore, be you also ready.
Do what?
Be you also ready.
Be you also ready. Read.
For in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man come.
So when you least expect it, if you ain't watching, he's coming. Let's get Psalms chapter 97. Psalms chapter 97 and verse, pick it up at verse 3.
Psalms chapter 97 and verse 3. A fire go before him.
What goes before him?
A fire goes before him.
A fire goes before him. Read.
And burn up his enemies round about.
Do what to him?
Burn up his enemies round about.
Go ahead.
His lightnings enlighten the world.
They do what?
His lightnings enlighten the world.
Go ahead.
And the earth saw and trembled.
They did what?
The earth saw and trembled.
Go ahead.
The hills melted like wax.
They did what?
Melted like wax.
The hills melted like wax. So if a hill or a rock melt like wax, what do you think this will do to a man?
Right.
Read that verse again.
His lightnings enlightened the world. The earth saw and trembled. The hills melted like wax at the presence of Yahuwah.
At the what?
At the presence of Yahuwah.
So the hills melted like wax at his presence. Keep that in mind. The hills melted like wax. It told us that the elements was going to melt with fervent heat. Right? Keep talking about this fire. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 6. Again, he ain't down yet. Isaiah chapter 51 and verse 6. Go ahead.
Lift up your eyes to the Shamaim, and look upon the earth beneath. For the Shamaim shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment. And they that dwell therein shall die in like manner.
And they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. The sinner thereof, because it told us in the precept, it's talking about the sinners. Read.
But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished.
And my righteousness shall not be abolished. We went over righteousness last week. What is righteousness? What is it?
The law.
The law. Okay, there we go. Get me Revelation 16:16.
Revelation chapter 16 and verse 16. And he gathered them together in a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So he gathered the nations together in the Hebrew tongue, a place called Armageddon. Read.
And the seventh Malachim poured out his vial into the air. And there came a great voice out of the temple of Shamaim.
So we good right there. So now this is the battle that's about to take place. The heavens then finally roll back like a scroll. The darkness is here, but HaMashiach still ain't on the earth quite yet. Revelation 19:19. So now the battle is set. Revelation 19:19.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse.
Read it again.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him.
So it says he saw all of the powerful people, the beast and the armies and the kings of the earth. They were what?
Gathered together to make war against him.
They were gathered together to make war against him. Read.
That sat on the horse.
That sat on the horse. So now all of these nations has come together to fight against him. Let's see what he's going to do to him. Isaiah chapter 63. Isaiah chapter 63. Pick it up at verse 1.
Isaiah 63 and 1. Who is this that come from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah?
He said, with dyed garments. Why would the Messiah dye his garments? Read.
This that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore are you red in your apparel, and your garments like him that tread in the wine fat?
So his garments is like he been working in a grape factory or something. We know he wear white. So it says, where you coming from with your garments dyed like that? Read.
I had trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in my anger.
I will do what?
I will tread them in my anger.
How do you make wine when you do grapes?
Stubborn.
Wow. Nice Messiah gonna stomp people? Wow. Read.
And trample them in my fury.
I will do what to them?
Trample them in my fury.
Go ahead.
And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
So that's how his garment has been dyed. It's dyed with these people's blood. Because he gonna stomp a mud hole in them. Read it again.
And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
Some of my raiment.
All my
He
raiment.
will stain all his raiment. Read.
For the day of vengeance is in my heart.
It is what?
It's in my heart.
It's in my heart. This means I got to get you. Read.
And the year of my redeemed is come.
And the year of my redeemed is come. Stop right there. Let's get Micah chapter 4 and verse 11. Micah, another one like Habakkuk. They don't go there that much. Give them a second. Micah verse 4 and 11.
Y'all made it? No.
All right, go ahead.
Micah chapter 4 and verse 11. Now also many nations are gathered against you.
Many nations are gathered against you. Read.
That say, let her be defiled. Let our eye look upon Zion.
Go ahead.
But they know not the thoughts of Yahuwah.
They don't know his thoughts because they don't know his law, because they don't know his book. Read.
Neither understand they his counsel. For he shall gather them as the sheaves into the floor.
So he going to gather them as the seeds into the floor. They think that they doing this, but it's actually him doing this to them. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 2. It's going to all make sense in a minute. Zechariah chapter 12. Matter of fact, let's pick it up at 1.
The book of Zechariah chapter 12 at verse 1. The burden of the word of Yahuwah of Israel, saith Yahuwah, which stretched forth the heavens, and laid the foundation of the earth, and formed the ruach of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling.
I will do what to it?
I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling.
A cup of trembling. Read.
Unto all the people round about.
All the people round about. What does round about mean? The surrounding areas, right? What are the surrounding areas around Jerusalem? What religion do they practice? Just something to throw out there. Yeah, just something to throw out there. Read.
Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem.
Against who?
Against Judah and against Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces.
Shall be what?
Cut in pieces.
Shall be cut in pieces. The language is super strong. Read.
Though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it, in that day, saith Yahuwah, I will smite every horse with astonishment.
What?
I will smite every horse with astonishment.
Stop right there. So again, they be saying that this is not horses and things. I believe the scriptures for what they say. I believe it's going to be a primitive battle, and people going to actually be riding horses like the book say. You know, they didn't really know what they were seeing, so that, you know, John thought that he was seeing a helicopter. I mean, he thought it was he didn't know how to describe what he was seeing, so, you know, back then it was, he didn't know what a helicopter was, so he said it was a horse. That don't make no sense. Stuff don't make no sense. But these are what the dudes be teaching us. See, he didn't know what he was seeing there. So, even though it say it's a horse, it's really talking about a tank.
Right. Because a tank resembles a horse.
Right, a tank resembles a horse. Come on, man. Don't even make no sense. Joel chapter 3. He still ain't down yet. Joel chapter 3, verse 11. Go ahead.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 11. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen.
All you what?
All you heathen.
All you heathens. Come on, let's get it. Read.
And gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause your mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. Let the heathen be wakened.
Let them do what?
Let the heathen be wakened.
Go ahead.
And come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Come up where?
To the valley of Jehoshaphat.
Read.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put you in the sickle, for a harvest is ripe.
For the what?
For the harvest is ripe.
Remember, he said he's going to trample in the wine press. He's going to make all these harvest comments. Zechariah chapter 12, verse 9.
Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem.
He going to do what to him?
Seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem.
Go ahead.
And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the house of the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced.
All right.
And they shall mourn for him.
They should do what?
They shall mourn for him.
Go ahead. Well, matter of fact, stop. Revelations 14. 12 and 9. Revelations 14 and 19.
Revelations chapter 14 and verse 19.
Matter of fact, pick it up at 18.
Verse 18. And another Malachim came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in your sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth. For her grapes are fully ripe.
For what?
Her grapes are fully ripe.
What time of the year does this sound like it? Fall, right?
Harvest time.
Harvest time, right? Keep it in mind. Read.
And the Malachim thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great wine press.
Into what?
Into the great wine press.
Same thing he was talking about in Isaiah 63. Read.
Of the wrath of the Most High.
Of the what?
Of the wrath of the Most High.
Of the wrath of the Most High. Go ahead.
And the wine press was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the wine press, even unto the horse bridles.
Unto what?
The horse bridles.
This means blood was so high that if a horse was standing, it would be about right here to the bridle on him. So, can you picture this amount of blood somewhere? That's a lot of blood. That means this is a lot of people.
It's a lot of death.
Been trampled like grapes. Read. Verse 20.
And the wine press was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the wine press, even unto the horse bridles.
Even unto what?
The horse bridles.
Even into the horse bridle. Read.
By the space of 1,600 furlongs.
So, when you look this up, this says it's like 200 miles. That's a long way for blood to be as high as a horse's bridle for 200 miles. This is a lot of people dead. This is a lot of people dead. We don't want nobody that's here to be a part of that. Right? Let's get matter of fact, jump back to verse 14.
In Revelation 14?
Yep.
Okay. Revelations 14 and 14. And I looked, and behold a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and his hand a sharp sickle.
In his hand a sharp sickle, read.
And another Malachim came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle.
Do what to it?
Thrust in your sickle.
Go ahead.
And reap. For the time is come for you to reap. For the harvest of the earth is ripe.
For the harvest of the earth is ripe. Give me Luke chapter 3 and 17. Again, he still ain't down yet. Luke chapter 3, 17.
Luke chapter 3 and verse 17. Whose fan is in his hand, and he will thoroughly purge his floor.
He will do what?
Thoroughly purge his floor.
Go ahead.
And will gather the wheat into his garner. But the chaff will he burn with
He
fire.
will do what to it?
Will he burn with fire unquenchable.
Unquenchable. I mean, you can't put this fire out. You can't put it out. It's unquenchable. It don't get enough. Zechariah 14. Pick it up at verse 1. Zechariah 14, verse 1.
Zechariah chapter 14 at verse 1. Behold, the day of Yahuwah come, and your spoil shall be divided in the midst of you. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity. And the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
So we got these dudes who's talking about, see, we gonna get to rape the nations. We gonna get to rape the women. It's talking about our women being taken. And why would the Most High let you rape somebody and think it's a righteous thing?
Right.
But this is what some of the other brothers be teaching, that this is talking about. We gonna get to rape the other women. Stupid. Read that verse again.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, the houses rifled, the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
And the residue shall not be cut off from the city. Jump down to verse 12.
Verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahuwah will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away.
It shall do what?
Their flesh shall consume away.
Their flesh shall consume away. He is a consuming fire. Read.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. And their eyes shall consume away in their holes.
Their eyes gonna consume away in their holes. Read.
And their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
So again, we was taught that this was a nuclear bomb. Right? That's what we was taught, that this was a nuclear bomb. But notice, I told y'all he wasn't down here yet. Jump back to verse 4.
Verse 4. And his feet shall stand in the day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west.
So now he finally down here. After the heavens done rolled back, the elements that melted with fervent heat, it done rolled back like a scroll. He finally is on the earth. His feet are on the mountain. Read verse 4 again.
And his feet shall stand in the day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof towards the east and towards the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove towards the north, and half of it towards the south.
So he gonna split the mountain in two and standing with 1 foot on one side and 1 foot on the other side. This shows how big he is. So the mountain is gonna be split into two, and it's gonna be a valley between it. Read.
And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains.
So what does that sound like? Something split and the people fleeing through it. The Red Sea. This time it won't be the sea. It's going to be a mountain that's going to split and the people going to flee through it. Read.
And you shall flee to the valley of the mountains. For the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Exile. Yeah, you shall flee, like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And Yahuwah my Elohim shall come, and all the saints with you.
And all the saints with you. So now he's standing on this mountain. Great valley is split. And he up there, and everybody that's in his path is being burnt to a crisp. According to verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahuwah will smite all people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouths. It's him, himself, that's burning these people, because they full of sin. Can't stand before him. We're coming back here in a minute. Get Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 4.
Habakkuk.
3, verse 4 and 5.
Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 4. And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power. Before him went the pestilence.
What?
Before him went the pestilence.
Because this was the plague. Go ahead.
And burning coals went forth at his feet.
Go ahead.
He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting.
His ways are everlasting. Back to the Zechariah 14 and 13.
Zechariah 14:13. And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from Yahuwah shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem.
So he's going to turn them against their own selves. So, now what would keep the righteous people or his people from burning up as well? Because they're going to be in his presence as well. Anybody? Why wouldn't they have no sin on them? How they got the sin off of them? How they put on righteousness? They did what? HaMashiach, you just gonna accept him and he's good? All right, now remember this was talking about harvest and stuff, right? Remember he kept giving us these references, right? Let's see. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. That's just to be studying. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10.
Revelations chapter 2 and verse 10. Fear none of those things which you shall suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days.
How many days?
10 days.
10 days. Why 10 days? Oh, wait a minute. So in 10 days you're going to be in tribulation. Let's see if B know what he's talking about. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 52. Let's see if my Ak knows.
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 52. 52. 1 Corinthians.
Pick it up at 51.
Verse 51.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 51.
It reads, Behold, I show you a mystery.
I do what?
I show you a mystery.
Go ahead.
We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump.
At the last what?
At the last trump.
At the last trump. Because remember, we was talking about them harvest feasts, right? He already fulfilled the first 3 feasts, the first 4. So we know he's coming back within the last 3. Read.
For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
We shall be what?
Changed.
We shall be changed. 1 Thessalonians.
Wait a minute, back it up here. He said, you're coming in the last 3. You know, the feast.
The last 3 feasts. He got to still fulfill them. He fulfilled the first 4 already. So the quote unquote, as the world would say, the fall feast. First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 15.
1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of the Master, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of our Master shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Master himself shall descend from the Shamaim.
He gonna do what?
Descend from the Shamaim.
Go ahead.
With a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump.
With the what?
With the trump.
With the trump
Of Elohim. And the dead in Mashiach shall rise first.
What verse you at?
16.
Keep going.
Then we, which are alive and remain, shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Master in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Master.
So shall we ever be with the Master. Revelation chapter 11 and verse 15.
Revelations chapter 11 and verse 15. And the 7th Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in Shamaim, saying, the kingdoms of this world are become as the kingdoms of our Master and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever.
How long?
Forever and ever.
Go ahead.
And the 24 elders which sat before the Most High on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped the Most High,
Go ahead.
saying, we give you thanks, O Yahuwah, Elohim, Almighty, which are, and was, and are to come, because you have taken to you your great power, and has reigned. And the nations were angry.
They were what?
Were angry.
Because they came to battle, so the nations were angry. Read.
And your wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that you should give reward unto the servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear your name, small and great, should destroy them which destroy the earth.
Destroy them which destroy the earth. So he's talking about this trumpet, right? At the last trump, he told these people was going to be in tribulation for 10 days. How long is it from trumpets to atonement. 10 days, right? Get me Leviticus chapter 25. So he said that the devil shall cast some of you into prison for 10 days. Leviticus 25, pick it up at verse 8.
Leviticus 25 and 8. And you shall number 7 Sabbaths of years unto you, 7 times 7 years, and the space of 7 Shabbats of years shall be unto you 49 years. And you shall cause the trumpet of the jubilee to sound.
You shall do what?
Cause the trumpet of the jubilee to sound.
Go ahead.
On the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement.
In the day of what?
In the day of atonement.
Go ahead.
Shall you make the trumpet sound.
Do what?
Shall you make the trumpet sound.
Read.
Throughout all your land. And you shall hallow the 15th year. And proclaim liberty.
Proclaim what?
Proclaim liberty.
What does liberty mean?
Freedom.
So if you was in prison for 10 days, right here on the Day of Atonement, this Jubilee, the captives go what?
Free.
They go free. Atonement also means what?
Purging.
Your sins are what? Washed away. This is why our people that get atoned for can be in his presence and not be burned up like everybody else, because he got it all set. The feast days line up perfect with his coming. So when he come back, Day of Atonement, you get all your sins washed away if you accept him and do what he asks you to do. Therefore, when he get around you, he won't burn you to a crisp. He won't burn you to a crisp because you just got atoned for it.
And what they gonna have on? They gonna have on what? White. What's the white what? Garment. You gonna have on that garment.
That garment that can withstand this. So having on this garment, this is how you will withstand this. Isaiah chapter 43. Pick it up at verse 1. Isaiah 43 and 1.
Isaiah chapter 43 at verse 1. But now, thus saith the Most High that created you, O Jacob, and he that formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you.
I did what?
I have redeemed you.
Go ahead.
I have called you by your name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overflow you. And when you walk through the fire.
When you do what?
When you walk through the fire.
What won't happen?
You shall not be burnt.
You shall not be burnt. Because you got on that garment. You've been purged. You've been cleared of all your sins. This is how you can stand before him. Read.
Neither shall the flame kindle upon you.
Neither shall the flame kindle upon you. Let's end it out real quick. Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9.
Daniel chapter 7 at verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him.
What form?
A fiery stream.
Go ahead.
Issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set.
The what?
The judgment was set.
Go ahead.
The books were opened.
Go ahead.
And I beheld. Then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld, even till the beast was slain.
Even till what?
Even till the beast was slain.
Even till the beast was slain. This is the anti-Messiah. Read.
And his body destroyed. and given to the burning
And
flame.
given to what?
To the burning flame.
Given to the burning flame. Revelations 19:17. Almost done.
Revelations chapter 19, verse 17. And I saw in Malachim standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of Shamaim, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper.
So he said to the birds. Now, when do the birds migrate? Right before the winter, right? Right around the same time as like the harvest, right? See how everything lined right up? So the birds is now flying south. Just so happen to be around the time of atonement when all these people, thousands and thousands of people are dead. Here, I got y'all lunch for days. Read.
Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, the flesh of mighty men, the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men.
There you go again. The flesh of horses and all the people that sits upon them. But for some reason they keep saying that this is tanks and planes. But I just take the scriptures for what they say. It say horses. It mean a horse. That's what it say. Read.
Both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and the armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image.
Go ahead.
These both were cast alive into the lake of fire.
Just like Daniel just said, cast alive into the lake of fire. Read.
Burning with brimstone.
Burning with what?
With brimstone.
Just like Daniel talked about. Read.
And the remnant were slain with the sword of him.
Slain with the sword with them. Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 33. Isaiah chapter 30 and 33.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 33. For Tophet is ordained of old.
Tophet is the lake of fire. It is a place in Jerusalem. Read.
Yea, for the king it is prepared.
It is what?
It is prepared.
So it was actually prepared for the king. Read.
He hath made it deep and large. The pile thereof is fire and much wood.
And what?
And much wood.
Read.
The breath of Yahuwah, like a stream of brimstone, do kindleth.
Just like Daniel told us. Jump to the next chapter and pick it up at verse 8. So we can see where this is at.
Isaiah 31 and 8. Then shall the Assyrian fall with the sword, not of a mighty man, and the sword, not of a mean man, shall devour him. For he shall flee from the sword, and his young men shall be discomfited. And he shall pass over to his stronghold for fear, and his princes shall be afraid of the ensign. Saith Yahuwah, whose fire is in Zion.
Where is his fire?
In Zion.
Where else?
And his furnace in Jerusalem.
And his furnace in Jerusalem. So Tophet, or the lake of fire, is located in Jerusalem. Keep it in mind. Last three scripts. Matthew 25:41.
Matthew.
Four scripts, my bad. Four.
Is it 25:41?
No. Matthew 25:41.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, you cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his malachim.
Prepared for who?
For the devil and his malachim.
So it was actually prepared for them But since you want to follow them and go in the ways of the world, I got to put you in there with them. Right? Now this is the false prophet and the beast, but this ain't Satan. Revelation chapter 20. And verse 2.
Revelations 20 and 2. And he laid hold on the dragon.
On the who?
On the dragon.
This is Satan, read.
That old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
He did what to him?
And bound him 1,000 years.
Bound him 1,000 years, read.
And cast him into the bottomless pit.
And did what to him?
Cast him into the bottomless pit.
So who going with the devil into the bottomless pit? Isaiah 24:21. Through our precepts we get understanding. Isaiah 24:21.
Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 21. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahuwah shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, and the kings of the earth upon the earth. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners, as are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison. And after many days shall they be visited.
So they be visited. So not only Satan going in there, his minions is going in there with him. So now that they in there, last script, Isaiah 14, verse 15.
Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 15. Yet you shall be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see you shall narrowly look upon you and consider you, saying, is this the man that made the earth tremble? That did shake kingdoms? That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof? That opened not the house of his prisoners?
Did what?
Opened not the house of his prisoners?
Because he wouldn't open it. HaMashiach had to open it. Read.
All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But you are cast out of your grave like an abominable branch.
Pretty good right there. So, this is how he actually gonna, this is like a picture of him before he come back. Complete darkness, heavens roll back like a scroll, everything gonna be melting that's around him. Anything that got set on him, on them rather, is dead. So this is the reason why he don't come down and holler at you and just talk with you. What's up, bro? Because he'll kill you.
So you don't have a personal relationship with nobody.
No, he can't. Because if he come down and holler at you, you dead in this state.
Personal relationship with him.
So with that, we say shalom. Any questions?
Standing in the midst.
So, that joint you hit in Isaiah, when it said that they gonna be put in the fire, but the flame not gonna harm them, right? Is that what fire baptized is?
Absolutely. Because you're going to be able to make it through it.
So these preachers ain't been fire baptized? No?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not. When they get in there, it'll be a different story.
I was just wondering.
You're gonna smell burning meat, burning flesh. Yeah.
This is my first time.
Hold it down, y'all. Hold it down. Hold it down.
And I was trying to call you on my phone, and y'all was going so fast, I was losing y'all. I would like to know, and I'd still like to know, like, what book are y'all coming out of?
King James Bible. The normal one that, most churches use, King James. Anything else?
Where do you learn the Hebrew words for heaven and God? Where do you learn that from?
Answer that, B.
It's you can use the concordance to find out those words. It's different Bibles that have the words in there, and then some people, have study.